a bomb went off. They were destroying
What?
her.
Yes, it's actually. I'm actually getting a bit upset here. Let them know that you appreciate them.
Probably that I'm a crack baby.
She used that struggle to go in a direction of success. So props to her.
And my
Oh,
mom
man.
had to fish it out, and I wish I had never heard that sound.
Being someone you care about in a situation like that just made my heart drop.
He told me that it was the worst birthday he's ever had and the worst cake he's ever had.
This kid of a guy was ungrateful, selfish, in front of his whole family and friends. People like that don't deserve people like this. A relationship is give and take, not just take. Yeah.
That guy.
yeah, you go, girl. Fuck that guy. What's one thing you wish you never heard? That is a tough question. And for the brave strangers that choose to answer this is going to bring back some dark memories. Let's dive into this one.
So my whole life, I thought that my dad just had a sister. And when I was 13 years old, I got a phone call. I was home alone, and it was a collect call from a prison. And I took the call because I was curious. And it ended up being an uncle I didn't know I had, who was in prison because he was a serial killer. And my parents kept that from me. They didn't want to tell me. And it's just something I wish I didn't know. I mean, I want to know, but it sucks, you know? I was like, my mind was blown away. And yeah,
Wow.
It's like a taint on our family name, and it's sad, but yeah, I do know now though.
Do you wish you never took that call?
At 13, she was home alone and she got a call saying her uncle was a serial killer. Wow, that would seriously mess up with your psyche when you're a 13-year-old going through puberty and you hear that someone in your family is capable of doing something like that. People can associate you with that, but you're your own person and you make your own life. I hope she's been able to find solace in the achievements of what she's done in her life.
I mean, it was, I don't know, I'm glad I know.
Yeah.
But it was the hardest thing to hear and figure out at 13, you know? I looked up some of the victims' names and I was like, I'm not gonna contact the family, that's not my
Man.
place, of course. But there's also a part of me that's like, oh, that's my blood, but you're right, it's not me or my dad. So, and I know he struggled a lot when that happened to him because he was 18 and his brother was 19, so they were only a year apart. So it was hard on him. He lost all his friends and the community went all against my family, of course, the murderer's family. He was never the same.
Have you ever talked to your dad about it, or?
I've tried to, but he doesn't like to talk about it really. His dad was never the same, and they just never really recovered. And I know, and I feel generations carry some trauma from past generations. So yeah, I just think about that.
So I was in.
Oh man, that's deep. Even the first one is this deep. Don't know how we're gonna get through 15 minutes of this. There's a great show on Netflix that's all the rage called Adolescence, and it goes through this child who commits a murder of another young child, and it goes through the fallout of the family, the victims, the school, the police. It does a really good job of showing how it affects those different people and doesn't just focus on the murder. I think here you're seeing in real time that something like that doesn't just affect you or the victims, it affects the family, future generations of trauma. You don't want to know, but you'd rather know, if that makes sense.
One thing I wish I never heard, I feel like growing up in a lower income family or places where there's a lot of struggle and challenge, there tends to be ideas that in order to be successful, in order to make money, you have to be evil or you have to sell your soul, and the only way to get successful is to do something wrong. And I think that I developed a weird relationship to the ideas of money and success at a young age for that reason. And I wish that nobody ever told me that. I wish I never absorbed that. I wish that I had ideas of abundance from the get-go, and that you're just being great in this world means that you should be rewarded for that. And I feel like I'm there now, but I wish maybe I had been there earlier. For anyone who's not.
It's tough because growing up in those environments and those backgrounds, sometimes that's all they know because they don't have access to the education, the resources. If you can listen to people that have an abundance mindset in terms of money, smart ways to invest, smart ways to create money, smart ways to have different sources of income, and you can consume that on a regular basis and do that.
Just recognizing that there is abundance in this world and being great at things, solving problems, being good to people, whatever it is that is unique, special, valuable about you deserves success and can be your path. You don't have to do anything bad to make that happen.
What's one thing?
Great message from her. If you can solve a problem and you can show people you can solve a problem and you can market that, then you can make money. Also, if you have a skill that you can share or you can show or present to other people, you can make money. And the marketing comes with both of those. That'll 100x, 1000x your money.
Thing you wish you never heard.
Probably that I'm a crack baby, because like nobody wants to know.
How old were you when you heard that?
Like 7 or 8.
Did you even know like what it
Ouch.
meant?
Like I understood that it was a bad thing. I don't think I fully understood like the depth of how far like drug addiction goes and like everything negative connotated with that, but I knew that it wasn't like a positive thing. Knowing from a young age that like I came from a bad person who had that type of background really helped me to know that that's not what I wanted for myself. And I feel like that's usually the case with like children of addicts. They choose to go a separate route rather than like watch their lives go in the ruins like someone they loved prior, you know?
It's great that she chose to go the other path because I feel like it'd be very easy to go down the same path that your parents have gone, that maybe your family have gone, that other people have gone. She used that struggle to go in a direction of success. So props to her. And if you can do that, then props to you as well.
That the pipes in LA are full of chemicals, including forever chemicals, and they're full of lead. And yeah, I just wish I never learned that because we use water for everything. And it's painful to know that our city doesn't care for our water source. Yeah, I wish I didn't know that right now.
So you genuinely wish like you could just be oblivious to it?
It's funny because if you're in a country that can drink water from the tap, you are very privileged. In the UK, we drink water from the tap. It's very easy access and you don't think about it. The only issue with that is you assume that that tap water is clean, is fresh, is fine, doesn't have metals, microplastics, which it can do. You can go online, search the water statistics and even see. Something I do is filter water. I recommend the Water Drop and I'll link it in the description. You put the tap water in this jug and it filters. Definitely invest. It's one of the best investments I've made, and staying hydrated is very important.
I guess it's just there's realities that you wish not to know because we can't do much about it, not right now. And because you know for a fact that there's
you can do stuff about it. You can also put filters in the tap. You can drink bottled water.
vulnerable communities that will not be taken care of for, and that you need to talk to them, see them every day, like your neighbors, your old neighbors, or immigrants, or from
I'm fortunate to have access to that. Again, not everyone has a luxury to be able to buy a water filter, so I see where she's coming from.
vulnerable communities that will not be taken care of for, and that you need to talk to them, see them every day, like your neighbors, your old neighbors, or immigrants, or from very low income communities who are like getting sick and stuff, and you're like, oh, it's probably the water. And now you can change that. You can change that right away. The city says that they're gonna
Damn, I didn't think of that. Low income families, yeah, you can't just be like, get a water filter. And they can't afford bottled water. I know you can get those filtration sachets that you put in the water. That's very sad if you don't have access to these things that I'm fortunate enough, and you may be fortunate enough to have access to. So yeah, interesting take there. That's opened my eyes to that, which is nice.
take 10 years to clean it up, and now they're asking for more time. So in 10 years, some of my neighbors are gonna be 80, 60. The babies are gonna be 10, 15, 20. They're gonna have so many chemicals on their bodies.
One thing I wish I had never heard, my little sister was maybe like 2, something like that. And my little sister took one of those green and white hard candies that you can get like at a restaurant, and she got it stuck in her throat, and she was like gasping for air, and she was choking on it.
No,
and my mom
man.
had to fish it out, and I wish I had never heard that sound of her gasping for air. For real, that was gnarly. That's the sound I wish I'd never heard.
Seeing someone you care about in a situation like that just made my heart drop. Ah. Yeah, I have little brothers, and even my big brother, and you just don't want anything bad to happen to them, but naturally it will. So I can resonate with that.
I was in college and I was at a friend's apartment and a bomb went off. They were destroying
What?
or activating an old like World War II or World War I bomb. And like after I heard that and it like shook the building, I was like, is this what people in like war zones feel like? Not to go super deep, but I don't know. I really like the fact that it wasn't even directed towards us or anything. It just, I don't know. I just thought like this is something horrible to hear, and if it's directed towards anybody, it's awful. So yeah, I instantly thought of that kind of.
They go through a lot worse than hearing a bomb. So respect to the people in the military serving for our country. They put their lives and livelihoods in danger for the protection of our country. Shout outs to you.
I wish that in 2017, when I took my dad to the doctors, that they didn't tell me that he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. My dad's a very strong person, and when we went to the doctors, he was trying to show the doctor that he was able to walk without having trouble, pretended like he was okay, and the doctor shook his head and said, no, you have Parkinson's. My husband that I met in 2002, his father had Parkinson's as well, and I saw the end results of that. And it was devastating to watch him deteriorate till the day he died. So when they told me that my dad had Parkinson's, I just reverted back to that time, and I lost it in front of my dad, which I've never done before. He's always been very strong, hard worker. I think the only thing that he's ever had was a wisdom tooth that went bad. So to see him now, 7 years later, having trouble walking and having the shakes and difficulties of Parkinson's, it's really hard. I just try to hug him a lot now and tell him I love him, which as a little girl I never really did. We weren't raised as Mexicans, taught to say I love you or give emotions to parents. So now I do that a lot. Since he never really was receptive to getting hugs, I tell him I'm cracking his back. So I'll hug him and tell him I'm gonna crack your back so I can give him a compression hug. And I just been doing that for the last couple years, and now it's just turned into hugs and telling him I love him. So
your husband was the gentleman who...
That is devastating. Parkinson's is such a horrible disease to have. You slowly deteriorate and lose function until you die, essentially. Fucking hell. Yes, it's actually... I'm actually getting a bit upset here. While you have your parents, while you have your grandparents, while you have your family members, let them know that you appreciate them if you do, if you're lucky enough to have family members that are supportive, caring, and loving like I do. And when you have the opportunity to spend time with them, I live away. And when I go back home to see them, I'm going to make sure that I spend time with them, that I'm present, that I'm just there for them, really. I think we could all do more of that, because you don't want to wait until something bad happens and then you're trying to claw back the time that you have left. So yeah, just put that into perspective for me. Hopefully you can take something from that.
Who just went before
Yeah.
you. Do you believe that like your husband was brought into your life?
Oh yeah, that we actually did talk about that. Like, it's almost like God put him in my life, so that he can help me through this time.
That's sweet.
There was some guy I fell in love with when I was like 19. My love language is like giving and making stuff for people. So I would just like constantly do that kind of stuff for this guy. This guy sucked. He was totally a taker, if that makes sense. So I made him a birthday cake. It took me like about a week or something, at least four days worth of baking this cake. So, you know, making cakes is like, you got to start with the bread and then you start with filling and creams.
No way.
Bakers would get it. So
From
after
scratch.
like hours and hours and hours and days of just like staying up and making this cake, and the day comes and I'm presenting this cake in front of him and his friends and his family, and he told me that it was the worst birthday he's ever had and the worst cake he's ever had, and that I ruined his birthday pretty much for serving a gluten-free vegan matcha vanilla cake. Which sounds good, but like...
Nah, fuck this guy. Sorry. I'll edit this out, but fuck this guy. She went through 4 days of baking a cake from scratch. It would probably looked amazing. And just because this kid of a guy was ungrateful, selfish, in front of his whole family and friends, said it was kind of crappy. Are you messing, bro? Nah, I'm fuming. That is nasty, nasty work, man. This guy does not deserve her. People like that don't deserve people like this, man. Damn! I got to me.
It was kind of crappy, but having to hear that really sucked. It kind of felt like... What did it feel like?
Even if it wasn't the best cake, like, just the fact that she made it for you. She made it for you on your birthday. She took time. She wanted you to be happy. Sometimes you have to look past an item. Like, it's not just a cake, is it? It's a cake that she made for you on your birthday that she took time doing, and she just wanted to make you happy. And I'm sure that's probably not the only thing that she did. But to say that's the worst thing, worst birthday and the worst cake, it's so insensitive. Shooting someone down that is trying to build you up, which I think is disgusting. I don't even know for what gain.
It felt like somebody grabbed my heart and like squashed it and then spit on it and then threw it away, and then somebody else picked it up and squashed it and threw it away, and then like it just felt terrible. But I don't know, I kind of am glad I heard it. I don't know.
Nah, fuck that guy. I hope she eventually finds someone amazing that will take, but will also give back, because a relationship is give and take, not just take. Yeah, bless him.
When it comes to relationships, something like that happening, I feel like could really build your character. You know, one day you're like this small, vulnerable person who allows that kind of stuff to get in their head. And then once you hear it enough times, you're so fed up with it that you sprout. You become someone who doesn't tolerate that shit anymore. So I guess I'm kind of glad I did hear that my cake was because now I'm a pastry chef and I can make all these vegan cakes from scratch.
Yeah.
That guy.
yeah, you go, girl. Fuck that guy, man. Yes. You make pastries for your job, and I'm sure they're sick. Oh, what a way to end it. Let me know what you think about these different takes in the comments. Love you and leave you. This has been Eternal Student. Thank you for listening, and take care. Bye-bye.